The next question is from Jun2002 and it's a question 4a. State what is meant by the momentum of a body. And you know that momentum is just mass times velocity. That's enough. State what is meant by the impulse of a force. And again, impulse then is just force times the length of time it acts for. Part B. A rugby fullback of mass 80 kilograms running with a ball at a speed of 3.5 meters per second is brought to a halt, so that means their final velocity is 0, in a tackle that lasts 1.4 seconds. Calculate the magnitude of the impulse exerted on the fullback during the tackle. And so therefore we know that the change in momentum is force times time, that's equal to mv minus mu. We know the final momentum is 0. And therefore impulse calculated is equal to 0. Take away 80 times, which is a mass, times the speed, the initial velocity, which is 3.5. And the impulse comes out as 280 and its unit is kg ms to the minus 1 or Newton seconds. Part 2, state the magnitude of the impulse exerted on the tackler during the tackle. And so we know this is from Newton's third law that if the fullback exerts a force, if the tackler exerts a force of an impulse of 280 newtons, or a force of, have we got it? No, we haven't calculated yet. If the tackler exerts a force on the fullback, then the fullback exerts equal but opposite force on the tackler, and therefore whatever impulse due to the force acting and the time it takes, because the time that they exert the force on each other is exactly the same. Whatever impulse you calculate for the impulse on the fullback, that's the same as the impulse on the tackler. And again, you should note that there's only one mark for that, and it does say state, so obviously it's something that you have already come across. Part 3, calculate the average force experienced by the tackler during the tackle. And so we already know the impulse, and we know impulse is equal to force times time, so we're just dividing the impulse by the time to get the answer. And you were given the time was 1.4 seconds at the top of the page, and so it's 280 divided by 1.4 and the answer is 200 newtons.